all that said, we now move forward to the and I've still got to cover this. Hold on. We're doing the Gaston Gazette WGNC post-game show, driven proudly by Tyndall Ford Subaru. Mm-hmm. We're now in the 3 and Out segment. And if for those of you who maybe have been paying attention, Carson got a haircut.
A little bit.
And along the way, part of the perks of being in the business, who did this hair for you, if you will?
Well, it's Mikey Whitlock. She's in Dallas, right on Main Street. Told her straight up, I only had $5 in my pocket. I said, Mikey, I only have $5. You cut a real good head of hair. Is there any way maybe I could come back later, or maybe I'll just give you free advertisement, as a joke? She said, sure, yeah, just go ahead and do that. So Main Street, right on Dallas. Right, she's with Nicole, Mikey and Nicole, two great. They can cut hair. And I mean, clearly, but definitely go give them a visit. They're right in the middle of downtown Dallas.
Yes, I love the transparency, Carson.
Yeah,
I go to Spindle City Barbershop. I'm kind of old school. Yeah. Charles does great work. So Charles Faulkner, shout out. Great job there, even with my hair. But anyway, kind of awkward that we're talking about hair right now.
No,
post-game show. Because you have hair, I don't so much. So
yeah, it's all right.
You're 3 and Out, Carson.
3 and Out. We're going to start with a team that we have not mentioned on 3 and Out this year, and a team that put up some stats tonight that you might not think they did. Bessemer City tonight putting up 422 rushing yards and 499 total yards. Cedric Mackey led the way, 210 yards on 27 carries and a touchdown. And Tyler Bess also getting in on the action with 12 carries for 94 yards and 2 touchdowns. So that Bessemer City game, it might not, been a big name game, but it was definitely one that was definitely good to watch.
Well, we've educated the folks, which is what we're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. The Community School of Davidson Spartans came into this game looking for its first conference win. It was 1-5 on the year. It now goes to 1-6 because Bessemer City wins 38-30 tonight, and they now go to 3-4 on the season. So congratulations to the Yellow Jackets. 422 yards of rushing. That's a lot of offense.
That's a lot of steps on a football field.
It really is. It's a lot of offense on the ground, and it's a lot of moving the chains. And when you do that, you stand a real good chance of winning games because you keep your defense off the field.
Yeah, exactly.
Number two was South Point. Obviously, coming into the night was their first real big test in conference with Ashbrook, come out with the win. Their big time was third quarter. They scored 4 touchdowns in the third quarter. In the game, put up 459 total yards of offense. Obviously, that's something you come to expect with South Point week in, week out. Jaquan Brooks had 3 rushing touchdowns and a career-high 207 yards on the ground on 19 carries and a touchdown pass. Tyler Bray, again, 98 yards with 3 touchdowns. Now he is 100 yards short of the county record set by another South Point alum whose name escapes me. I think it's Aaron Crumley.
Yes, exactly. That's who it was.
How about that?
Who it was. Good call. Thank you.
That?
Thanks for picking up the slack. And DeAndre King with a receiving touchdown and 51 yards on 8 carries.
In watching the first few possessions of this game, both teams punted early. Ashbrook was 3 and Out, and this is how their night went. They were 3 and Out, 3 and Out, 3 and Out. I think it might have been punt, touchdown, interception.
Yeah.
And how that went. And they scored the touchdown off of an Isaac Wright, who I believe is the son of Bernard Wright that I got to see growing up back in the day, if you will. Isaac Wright got a kickoff return down to the 12-yard line, and the only person on the field that could have caught him, and that was Tanner Muse.
Yeah.
I don't think canine dogs could have chased down Isaac Wright, and Tanner Muse did it. I am blown away by this kid's speed, and it doesn't doubt me why he's being recruited by the folks he's being recruited by, because I've seen it now. This kid is lightning fast. It's just unbelievable how quick he is. Isaac Wright's got good speed.
Yeah.
Tanner Muse took an angle and caught him at the 12-yard line, and I was like, wow, I thought for sure Wright was gone, and Muse caught him. So the South Point team just is
so scary, especially from the defensive side of the ball. They just absolutely eliminated any opportunity for Ashbrook to develop any sort of momentum offensively. Ashbrook got the first touchdown from that very short field because of what Isaac Wright did. They did score another touchdown prior to the break at halftime, and that was it. 27 points unanswered in the third quarter by South Point. It's almost like Mickey Lineberger walked in there, turned the switch on, they walked back out, and they just ran roughshod over the Ashbrook Green Wave in a game. There's no way in the world that after watching the first quarter of this game, I thought it was going to be a 48-14 final. No way in the world. I thought Ashbrook came to play. They had a great game plan, scuffling a little bit offensively, but I thought the defense was going to make enough plays, and then you could just sort of seeing it unravel, just bit by bit by bit, and then all of a sudden you get to the third quarter, and they just blew up the game, and it wasn't even an issue come fourth quarter.
Well, yeah, I like to say, come out of the locker room, and Jaquan Brooks turns out and just goes for an 80-yard touchdown run on that first drive. And I got a little heads up. I read Phil Gardner's story. Jaquan Brooks just said, our intensity was way too low. We just didn't have anything going for us. So he said, I need to do something and show the team that, we got to get going. This team isn't a slouch that we're playing. We gotta do our part, and he did. He definitely did his part.
Well, and you mentioned that they had 2 turnovers in the first half, and it was a bit of a lackluster effort from the South Point Red Raiders, to the point to where the fans were starting to get a little uneasy, and they're like, okay, we're tired of seeing this. We saw this last week.
Yeah.
We saw you essentially lay an egg against us, and you still got the win. We can't see this tonight against Ashbrook, or this team's going to beat you.
Yeah.
And something happened after halftime to where the adjustments were made, but this was a different team coming out.
Definitely.
No question about it.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, you can read Phil Gardner's story on the online version of the Gazette, where tonight's highlights become tomorrow's headlines, www.gastongazette.com, and then, of course, in newsstands throughout Gaston County. Certainly call for delivery. They do still deliver papers to your doorstep, which is always convenient. Carson, the final of your 3 and Out.
The final, again, offense is the story with Forest View and Logan Bradley. 6 touchdowns tonight, 340 yards on 23 of 33. What more can you say about the Forest View offense at this point? We've used every adjective in the book to describe it. McKelty Armstrong, 3 touchdown receptions. Mo Neal, 62 rushing yards and a touchdown. 3 receptions for 40 yards. I mean, this offense is just so well balanced. They just put the ball everywhere and wherever they want to, and their athletes just go and make plays.
And I'm gonna make a not so bold statement here. There's no way they're gonna bump their average up after playing South Point. They're not putting up 52 on Friday night. I can almost promise that. Now, I will say this. This is the one thing that I think South Point poses a great threat to Forest View about. South Point is not an extremely big front 7, okay? So if this were an I formation club that just absolutely ran it down your throat, then I would say that South Point may have some issue. But the fact of the matter is that Forest View does not play that way. They're not a power club. They do more of the finesse. They like to throw the ball. They like to throw it quickly. And because they like to throw it quickly, the need for pressure on Logan Bradley isn't as such for South Point. So they're not going to have to get 5 yards upfield to get to Logan Bradley. They know that they can maintain their lane and stay in the spot that they need to be, and they can help cut back and cut off some of those passing lanes that Logan Bradley throws to. Now, ultimately, it becomes a game of playmakers. And I honestly believe that South Point has more playmakers on the defensive side of the ball. They're that solid. That I think that this is the type of defense that can derail Logan Bradley and that high-powered Forest View offense. Now, here's the biggest anecdote to making sure that the offense for Forest View doesn't go crazy. They can't score if they're not on the field.
True.
And how do you do that? With a ball control, grinded up offense like this does. And the fact of the matter is, all of this predicates off of what Jaquan Brooks does. If he's making the proper decisions, doing the proper reads in this triple option offense, and then his athletic ability is able to get into some lanes that it's clear Forest View at one time this year was giving up by way of 57 points to Nation Ford. Well, I would say, blind view here, South Point's probably got a better offense than Nation Ford. Probably different,
Yeah.
But probably better. And I would think that this club in South Point has every intention of turning a 48-minute game into a 30-minute game, and they intend on having the ball considerably more than Forest View. And if they're able to do that, they're going to keep that offense off the field, and then that high-powered offense isn't high-powered on the sideline.
Well, to play devil's advocate for you, Forest View's offense doesn't need time on the field. It needs 1, 2, 3 plays, and just dump it off to a guy and let him run upfield. Let him make the plays. Let your athletes, which Forest View has a lot of them spread out all over the field, you let them make the plays, and you set them up for success.
Without question, and I think that's where I go back to the point about the playmakers. The fact of the matter is, Forest View catching somebody in space against North Gaston, I said it earlier in the show, North Gaston has trouble tackling in the open field. South Point doesn't have that trouble because they fly to the ball. I think Forest View really does themselves a favor if they're able to go lots of misdirection, lots of draws, things of that nature to break the timing up of South Point. South Point's defense,
use that aggressiveness against them.
Sure. Well, I mean, South Point's defense oftentimes really feeds off its own momentum that they build for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
If Forest View doesn't allow them to build that momentum, they're going to have to play more on their heels. Definitely advantage Forest View if that happens.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. That's a pretty good 3 and out.
Not bad.
And I will add a 3.5, if you will. Congratulations to Highland Tech for getting a win.
Obviously.
Look, when it happens in that situation, you celebrate it like crazy.
Oh, of course.
Because not everybody can win state championships. I mean, there's got to be somebody out there that doesn't win week in and week out. So when it happens, you
party.
You enjoy it. You go crazy. We're getting ready to close this thing down. We're through 8 weeks of this.
That's not bad.
It's been a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see what the final month of the regular season is going to look like as we then move into the playoffs and all of the things that's going to happen. And as that continues to go, we'll continue to have all the information for you. We'll continue to bring in some of the best guests. I've still got a couple college coaches I want to bring in here. And what I'm excited about for you is, of course, the fact that Lucky Samurai will be coming in next Friday night, and we will be feasting like kings. So, folks, we thank you so much for taking part in all of this. For our guest, Cliff Dixon, this evening, for Carson Dockery, for intern Bethany, wherever she is tonight, probably lamenting somewhat this evening. This is Brian Rushing, wishing everyone a safe weekend, a pleasant weekend. We'll see you next time right here on the Gaston Gazette WGNC postgame show, driven proudly by Tyndall Ford Subaru. Thank you so much.